everybody, and welcome back to another episode in the Adventures with Andy Halloween Megaventure.
Today we're going to be dyeing yarn inspired by one of Andy's favorite Halloween treats.
Candy corn! I love candy corn. I know a lot of people don't like this stuff, but I love candy corn. So all you candy corn haters out there, you can just send all your candy corn to me. I will be more than happy to take it off your hands. The yarn that we're going to be using for today's dyeing adventure is Cascades 128 Superwash, which is 100% superwash merino wool. It is, I don't know, big. It's a much heavier weight than what I normally use. For the dyes, we're going to use the Chef Masters Neon Brights again. Largely because not only do they have the yellow that we need, but they already have an orange. And it should be a true orange. So I don't have to mix one up like I would have to do with the Wiltons. I wound the yarn up into a cake, and it has been soaking here in water for honestly about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I put it in water. I had work to do. I really got into the flow of the short story I was working on and ended up working a little bit longer than I expected to. So the yarn just soaked. And that is life with a writer, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes, it is. So it is thoroughly saturated in the cake. Thoroughly saturated. Chad refilled my vinegar for me. Thank you. I used the last of this dyeing the yarn mop from the September 2020 Chemnitz dye along. Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
So good to me. Okay, so I'm gonna need to put, can you move the crock pot over for me?
Closer.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna put the crock pot over here and put
That
the
is
yarn.
the crock pot.
My brain melted. Those of you out there who happen to be writers, you have experienced this, you know, when you start writing and you spend like just an hour and a half writing until your hands hurt too much to move anymore and your brain doesn't function. I'm currently working about that level. Did you want to pour some of the water from this into there
How
for
much?
me? We need it to cover the cake.
Completely?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not that much. Well, that's going to float anyway, so that's fine. Okay, now I'm actually going to take this back out. There is a logic to my plan. So that way we know that we have enough water in there to just cover the yarn cake. Not too little, not too much. Because what we're going to do is we're going to start by mixing up a yellow dye bath, set our yarn cake in it, and let it just soak up that yarn from the outside in. And then after that dye bath is exhausted, we're going to mix up an orange dye bath, put the yarn cake back into the crock pot, and let that soak until it exhausts. And the hope is that we end up with a yarn cake where the center of it is white, then the next concentric ring out is yellow, and the outer concentric ring is orange, just like a candy corn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're actually going to want more yellow than orange because we want the yellow to penetrate deeper into the yarn cake. I'm going to start with, I think, 20 drops of this based on our experience with it with the neon green.
Yeah.
You think 20 would be good?
Yep. Does it need to be opened?
That's a good possibility. I didn't think about that. It does. Chad, would you mind opening this? And the water that the yarn cake soaked in is just plain tap water. There's no vinegar in it yet. I will add the vinegar when we add the dye. Oh God, for a second I almost just took that from you and dumped it in.
That would have been quite a lot.
I need a nap.
You said
y'all.
20 drops.
20 drops, not an entire bottle.
Not 20 bottles.
Should not be dyeing yarn on writer's brain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And I'm going to resist the urge to say, oh, let's go ahead with 30 so that we know that we have enough for it to soak all the way in, because I happen to know from experience that yellow can be incredibly hard to rinse clear. What do you think?
Looks pretty yellow.
Looks pretty yellow? And of course, if it... Huh?
What do you think?
Oh my God. Show them your fingers. Look at his hands, y'all. Oh my God.
The orange put up a fight.
Apparently. Apparently so.
I should bring a knife out here.
We're gonna start by putting 3 tablespoons in for a start.
6 spoons?
Yeah. Ooh, that is strong vinegar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is 3 tablespoons of vinegar, 20 drops of Chef Master Yellow, and we are now ready to put our yarn cake in. By the way, this is the first time I have ever cake dyed yarn. I've watched plenty of videos on it. I've never actually done it. So, wish me luck, y'all.
Luckily you like cake.
I love cake. I'm just scared the yarn's gonna get tangled and everything, because it's not tied together. There's no figure 8 ties or anything like I normally do when I dye yarn, because you can't do that with cake. It's just wound up like if you were gonna knit with it. So please don't become a tangled nightmare. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the crock pot. I don't want it to go all the way across the top. So it's okay that it's floating here just like this.
Do we need to put something under it maybe so that it doesn't sink?
No, we're just gonna hope.
Okay.
At the very least, the inside of it should stay white, theoretically.
Are we cold dyeing it or?
No, we're actually gonna start the crock pot up for a little while.
Okay.
We are just going to let this sit in the crock pot. It's set on high right now. We're gonna let it sit in here until this dye bath exhausts, and then we'll come back and we will add the orange dye. Our dye bath is pretty close to exhausted. There's still some yellow in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and very carefully get it out of here. My tongs aren't clean, so.
Where are you gonna put it?
That's a really good question. How about on top of that? Oh. Just for a second. I put 20 yellow in. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 orange. Is that really hot?
No.
Okay. And now I'm going to, yep, this is still pretty warm. Just checking. I mean, it's not burning hot, but okay. Can you move that up? All right.
There we go. And you're in. It's an orange.
We lost most of our yellow on the top, but
We'll see, right?
there should still be yellow on the inside at least. Okay. Since this water is hot, you can put the lid back on.
Okay.
Since the water is already hot and it's pretty late at night. I mean, okay, not terrible. Oh my God, I sound so old. It's what, like 8 o'clock?
Maybe.
I make it sound, I'm so old. Okay, since it's 8 o'clock and the water's already hot, I'm not going to let it sit on high plugged in for like another hour. because I will forget about it. So we're gonna go ahead and unplug the crock pot and just let this sit overnight. And then we can come out here tomorrow and take a look and see what we've got. Our dye bath isn't fully exhausted, but I'm gonna go ahead and, it's been sitting here overnight. I mean, we have options, Chad. We can put some more vinegar in there and see if it will exhaust, or we can just accept it as it is.
I say accept it as it is.
Only before putting more vinegar in. If it hasn't exhausted, I'm worried about lots of bleeding. You know?
Okay.
Do you want to plug the crock pot in for me, sweetie? One, half, one, half, two. Okay, so it's another 2 tablespoons of vinegar in our dye bath. And we're gonna go ahead and let it heat up again. We'll let it sit for half hour at least and see how it looks at that point. The yarn's been sitting here in the crock pot on high heat for about an hour with the extra vinegar, and it's still not exhausted. So, do you know what that means, Chad?
Time to bring out Old Reliable.
That's right. Yarn mop time. You want to do the honors?
It's warm water.
It's very hot water. This has been sitting here for a few hours. I did go ahead and open up the yarn mop. Chad had to run out at 2:30 and pick up 2 of our foster kittens, Noki and Tater Tot, from the vet. They got spayed and neutered today. They came through with flying colors, and they get to go to their new home on Friday. So excited. By the time y'all see this video, they will already be in their new home. While he was gone, I checked on this, and the yarn mop had picked up some color, but not all of it. So I went ahead and opened it up so that it had more area that it could do that, and unplugged the crock pot. It's now 5:30. 5:30. The water's still hot. I mean, it is steamy. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
It holds on to heat pretty good. Our dye bath, it's pretty close to exhausted. So that's good. Now we need to wash this yarn. I can't just take it like I normally do and wash it under the sink because it's not in a skein, and the ends of that yarn cake are not tied to anything. There are no figure 8 ties if I do that. If I just wash it like I normally do, it is going to become a tangled disaster. Not just a nightmare, but a tangled disaster. We have to wait for this to cool off. I was expecting it to be cool by now, but it's not. So we're going to have to wait for this to cool off, and then once it has, we can transfer the yarn cake over to just a bin of plain water, sit it in there for a few hours, at least an hour, to get any unset dye out of it, and then take it out of there, let it dry, and once it's dry, I can wind it back into a skein, put some ties in it, and then give it a really good rinse and wash. So I guess that's what we're going to do now. I was expecting this to be cold. It is not. All right, so this has been sitting out here overnight. It's cool now. Chad, would you care to carefully, well, okay, first, go ahead and get the yarn mop out of there. Yeah, I'm making him do it this time. I thought he might enjoy getting a little hands-on.
There's that for you.
And then very carefully lift that out so that none of the strands come loose. You can carefully squeeze a little of the water out. That's good. Okay,
Is that
and then
good?
just put it in there.
There you go.
Yeah. And you can see we do still have a little of the yellow here, very little. No idea what the bottom looks like. Do we want to peek at the bottom?
Now we can wait. You can be surprised.
Oh God, no good at waiting. Ah! All right, I'll wait.
Looks like candy corn.
As he gives thumbs up that are completely not visible on camera. Still not visible on camera. 2 thumbs up. All right, we're just gonna let this soak in some water for a while. And we'll be back to show y'all the final results.
Andy, are you eating candy corn again?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were supposed to be showing people the candy corn yarn that you dyed.
Okay. Here is our finished candy corn yarn. What do you think of it, Chad?
I think it turned out great.
I think it looks really cool. Let's open it up and take a look.
Hard to believe it started as plain white yarn, isn't it?
It did, and we still have quite a bit of white on here. We've got our orange.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some yellow, and of course we've got some white left over. I think we ended up with more orange than yellow, but that's okay.
Well, most candy corn has more orange than yellow, doesn't it? I mean, take a look in your bowl.
Our inspiration. Yes, there's not much left in that bowl because I can't stop eating them.
It was full just a couple minutes ago.
I like candy corn. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I like candy corn. Yeah, I really like how this turned out. It's not going to end up being like discrete huge blocks of straight orange, straight yellow, and straight white, like doing color work that way. It's gonna have sort of a melded color. Unfortunately, I can't do a swatch on this one because it's another long color change. So I pretty much have to knit the whole skein for you to see how it's really gonna work together.
You don't want to bang that out real quick?
I don't have time. I have deadlines coming up. And I have so many things on the needles already. I've got what, like
7? 9?
I think 9 projects.
97?
No, I don't think 97 or 79. I think I've got like 9 projects on the needles right now. I have to finish something before I start another one. I really have to. But I have at least decided what I'm going to make with this. I'm going to make a hat. It's just a question of who I'm going to make the hat for. I don't know. It could be a hat for me because I love candy corn. It could be a hat for you, Chad.
Mm-hmm. You could?
It could be. Would you like a hat?
Sure, I'll take a hat.
Yeah.
Although if you made a hat for you, you could knit little eye holes in it, so it just, when you put it on, it just looks like a piece of candy corn on your head.
I could do that, but I probably won't.
You can cosplay as candy corn.
I could cosplay as candy corn. That could be my Halloween costume this year. Candy corn.
Well, I hope everybody had fun coming on us with this little adventure to dye yarn in the color of candy corn, or in Andy's case, eat candy corn.
I like candy corn.
Yeah, she does indeed.
It's yummy.
Bye, everybody.
No.
No.
And I remember, tell them to like the video.
Oh.
Be sure to subscribe and hit notifications so you don't miss any of our adventures.
If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click notifications so you don't miss any further adventures, especially the rest of the Halloween mega adventures. Bye. Say bye, Andy.
Bye.
Do you like candy corn?
I like candy corn.
Yeah. Nothing you'd rather have.
You.